All right, man. Welcome back to the Universal Thought Podcast, where we share universal thoughts, ideas, concepts, philosophies, and all around great perspectives from some great people, man. And today we got a very special guest. What's crazy is I seen him at the debate. And it's my first time seeing him at the debate. He's actually running for Shelby County, Memphis mayor, right? I thought I knew pretty much everybody that was on the ballot until I seen this brother. He got up, he spoke strongly. I felt like he was wasn't very distracted by everybody else. You know what I'm saying? He got up, he said his strong words, man, and he sat back down. It's just like he was just straight to business. You know what I'm saying? And I like that. I like to see the realness of people. Now let me go through these. You from Greenville, right? Greenville, okay. And he's a community leader, a small business owner, a father. Again, he's currently running for 2026 Shelby County Mayor. Born in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and raised in the small town of Greenville.
Yes,
right. I present to you all Mr. Rusty Qualls. What's going on, bro?
I really appreciate you for having me today.
Not a problem.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you for coming, man. You was referred to me personally. I actually gonna reach out to you anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, because I spoke. So basically, on my show, I've interviewed a lot of politicians, a lot of people with a lot of like different perspectives and stuff like that. So the show is basically based on understanding how people think, right? Universal Thought Podcast. People from all different walks of life and stuff like that. And so I like to highlight people that have a real heart for whatever it is they do. And they can offer a real perspective and not necessarily a political perspective.
Makes sense.
That's mine too.
Makes sense.
Right? So when you was referred to me, I knew that, okay, well, I had to be destined because I was already going to reach out to you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So tell my audience a little bit about like where you come from and, what actually made you get into politics.
All right. I love to just tell people I'm originally from Greenville, Mississippi, because it's a lot easier for people to find a landing point. But I'm actually originally from Eagle Lake, Mississippi. And Eagle Lake, Mississippi, real rural.
Really?
And so the closest reference point is Vicksburg, Mississippi, around by Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
Yeah, so me and my family, we transitioned to Greenville when I was fairly young. And then that's why I met my lovely wife. We've been together for over 20 plus years. And then we made that transition over to Memphis because we were having kids and we wanted to, get them a better opportunity. We thought Memphis would be a great fit. It was a uphill climb, but when you have somebody behind you or standing beside you, make that transition, a little bit easier. Why did I get into politics? The base of it is, I always had a heart for people, and I can relate to good government, bad government, based off of my upbringing, my brothers and sisters, and seeing how some of those things navigated,
right.
And trying to give back. Me and my wife, we always been advocates on giving back to the community, whether it's clothes, giveaways, feeding the community, whatever we had the capacity to be able to spread our wings. And just listening to the community, hearing the echoes of everybody saying the same thing about, government, local government is really not supporting us and they feel like they're not for us. And so, talking to my wife and my family, I just felt like it was, a need for me to be able to do more, to come from among the people and, been through some of those struggles and try to help them out through some of those things. And so, coming from that, I just really wanted to get into politics and bring some of those changes, to be able to help navigate through some of those policies and procedures or whatever it is to be able to give back to the community. And so that really drove me and pushed me up.
Okay. Why Memphis?
Why Memphis?
Yeah.
Memphis is home for us now, right?
And how long you been?
We've been in Memphis over 20 some years.
Oh, okay.
And,
it's home.
Yes, it's home now. And like I always say, it's been good to us. We was able to navigate and have a really good landing point. And not saying that we're through, we still striving and pushing. But like I said, we come from a real rural area, which is Greenville, Mississippi, and we see how the economy was and how it's declining. And I talked to my wife about this probably more than anybody else, you know, and we see the same decline here, you know, when it comes to, you know, public housing, loss of jobs or trying to find a job, those type of things. And so just want to be able to, you know, help move Memphis forward, because we think about, you know, our next generation, right? And we are standing on somebody's shoulders now. Somebody's a pillar for us. And so we have to take that same lead and have them to stand on our shoulders too. But we have to be able to streamline something feasible for them, and not just what they call word salad or double speaking,
right?
To get them, you know, telling people what they really want to hear, you know, but being an active leader to be able to stand up to bring those changes.
Good deal, good deal. That's crazy. You actually from Mississippi. So I was born in Batesville, Winona County.
Okay.
Raised in Memphis, raised in Orange Mound. Of course, I live out here in Hernando, but my heart is still in Orange. Well, it's still in Memphis, right? I still have an address in Memphis, so I can still vote, right?
Okay.
So I wasn't thinking, oh, man, he can't even vote, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm very active in Memphis, and I make sure that I'm just all about like people. You know what I'm saying? The realness of people, and I just don't, you know, even though I'm in the like kind of the inner circle with the politicians. They know me. They like, everyone should be a part of this party. No, I'll support the people that I know are being real, and that's actually got a heart for the community, right? So coming out of Mississippi, did you have like the support, you know, from your community back in Mississippi to come to Memphis and actually get in politics?
No, not originally. You know, back now once they see me campaigning and running, I get the text message, the email.
I see you, man.
Yeah,
I see you, Rusty.
And you know, it's ironic that you asked me that. Like one of my good friends, he messaged me the other day. He said, "Man, you always been a born leader, and you kept me out of, you know, so much opportunity when going the wrong directions." And that hit home to me, you know, because when you were younger, you really didn't think about a lot of those things, but I always been the guy like, let's think about this before, you know, we make those transition into something else. And then I would just tell my life story to them and my brothers and things like that, and what that path really ended up at, and just trying to help build, you know. But we still go home quite often because they say I'm still a community leader no matter where I go. And so going back home, you know, and investing in them, you know, I should have alluded to this a little earlier. I'm about to get teary-eyed, but when I was working at Nike, I worked there 10 years, got my sabbatical, be gone for like 30 days. And so going back home and seeing the condition of the city, you know, kids coming up to you, you know, barely clothed and don't have any money to get, like I said, I'm about to get teary, I'm trying to hold back. And coming up to someone and asking for something to eat, you know. And so I took that initiative, you know, started diving in, made some contributions back home, and like the drinking water is not drinkable for them.
Right.
And so some of this journey for me is for me to gain some continuity, because in essence, you know, I still want to go back and help the community out. And so even here, you know, locally, looking at the same effect, you know, seeing kids out, you know, and I respect some of them for the hustle. They try to sell water, those type of things. But the active youth shouldn't be in the state of condition that it's in, and we're beacon for them, and so we have to tap into their light, you know, and ignite their flame so they can be passionate about what it is that they want to do instead of automatically pushing to the side. Because over the past 13 years, you know, I am an active minister as well. You know, traveling from Syson, Missouri, all the way back to Arkansas, going into the inner city schools, you know, helping the young kids transition over to young adults, just trying to help uplift them, because they are our future. And they're dependent on us, and I love to say this, but at some point we want to be dependent on them. And so we have to be able to set them up to be able to carry us on over too. And not only just that, I think that their task is a lot higher than ours because they still got to reach back into the next generation.
Yeah.
And so I just want to be able to be that for the youth, so they'll know that they got somebody here, that's cheering them on, that's trying to help them. And not only just the youth, I look at peer group, and I look at the senior citizens and the type of support that they need. They're struggling with housing too. And again, like I said at the forum, a lot of things that me and my family do through our business or our personal finances, we didn't do it for any claps or applause. We did it because of our heart. Right. And so I just want to continue to just not only just share my mind and my will, but I just want to continue to share my heart.
Right. What's crazy is we don't, when you said that about, them having to reach back to help us, I thought about the fact that we don't have like, we don't really do that. We didn't upkeep, grandmama in the house. Mm-hmm. We didn't carry on those family traditions that we should. And that's the separation between young people and old people. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has something or someone, or there's an area that pull at your heartstrings. So I guess they kind of segue into my next question. You kind of already answered, but what's that one thing that kind of like, when you see it, it's like, man, I can't even turn my head from. So it could be, people that, go to jail, or homeless people, or kids. What's that thing for you?
For me, it's sporadic.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things that pull me, because coming where I came from, it's, the lack of teaching when it comes to the youth, and I have a unique marketing strategy too that I use, and I come in contact with a lot of people. I'm going to get to the question. Elder that came up to me and was like, she was about to get evicted, right, and nowhere to go. I called my wife, hey, here's the address, here's the information, go make sure you take care of that for her because I'm still not marketing. And so when I say it's sporadic, it's a lot of things. Right. When I go out and I see the homeless, his name Mr. Brown, as sweet as we want to be. But to see the condition that like nobody actually cares. And so when I look at all of those pillars, whether if it's education, the kids getting what they need, whether it's the homeless getting what they need, whether if it's, and like I said, it's sporadic for me. And so all those things, and sometimes, like one of my mentors told me, Russ, just because you're doing a lot of things don't mean you get a lot of things done. But I just can't decouple from that. Yeah. Even working at the facility I was working for, I'm still connected. Right. I don't walk away from it because I see the impact. Them getting a diploma, coming over into the job field and really not having the basic wherewithal. And so the connection is developed to help them get to the next level. And even though I'm not within the facility more, to still do those type of things. And so it's just having a heart for people that keeps me, connected. It doesn't matter if it's pulling me 40 north or it's pulling me, down 61 or down 51. It doesn't matter where it's pulling me to. It's just sporadic for me, and I just can't ostracize it down to say this is more top priority than this one because everybody need to me is still the same.
Right. And I know you can't. You just like me, man. It's like sometimes like it's like the things that I care about the most are the things that's closest to me, that's more tangible. Things that I can see, touch, feel. Some things that I refrain from the news, like national news, a lot because it's just like I don't want to care about that right now. You know what I'm saying? Outside of mine, it's too much going on in my city, in my neighborhoods that I gotta care about. And when that distract me, it's like you don't care about your neighborhood. You gotta care about one another. You can't say the word, yes. Right? I know a lot of. Again, I know people get in certain professions and certain positions and stuff like that, and they have a certain intent, right? Their intent may be money, their intent may be popularity, it may be to get them to another place, whether it's being a teacher, or, police officer. Why did you become a police officer? Was it to beat down black people, or was it to really help the community? So my question to you is, when you said to yourself, I'm finna go out here and I'm finna really make a change. I'm finna run for office. I'm finna run for mayor. What's your intent? What's your overall intentions on being the mayor of Memphis specifically?
In Shelby County.
Yeah.
And so my intent again is I'm totally transparent.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not in it for the money. You know, I think I was on ABC 24, haven't accepted a PAC. Not looking to accept the PAC because I want to continue to run a clean campaign. Right. You know, all my campaign is funded through, you know, our businesses. And so money is, you know, not top of my agenda. You know, I even told my wife I'd do it for free if they let me, you know,
right.
but because I want to be able to help. You know, I want to be able to be a beacon. And my intent is to be, you know, a stand-up leader, you know, not to be caught up in all the allegations and all those type of things. I want to continue to just, you know, walk my path. And do I have a strategy? Yes, I have an 11-year strategy that I'm looking at because, again, I want to be able to, you know, go back home and help in that lens. And then, you know, I have another agenda after that. You know, I was chewing on and regurgitating and see do I want to, you know, drop it here, you know, that I didn't get the clearance to. So, you know, I still have to, you know, walk that path, but they're good intentions. Right. You know, they're not based off of money. It's not based off of popularity. And I can see it, you know, I come from, if you come from anywhere, if you know what I mean. Right. You know, my wife put it in another unique way. Popularity, you know, that was early. Yeah. You know, the showboating and, you know, all those type of things. That's out my system. You know, like I say, I'm a, you know, active minister, and one thing that really helped me out, you know, when I was a child, I acted as a child and I speak as a child. You know, now that I'm grown, I put away all my childish ways, and so I stand up as a man. You know, I want to be, you know, like just not inspiration within my own house because I have, you know, 4 boys and 2 girls that I have to stand up and I not only just, you know, saying it, but I have to practice what I preach. And so not only just within the house, but out in the community when I'm coming in contact with individuals, showing that it's possible to stand up, to be somebody great if you choose to. And it's not, for me, it's not about a title. You know, it's all about, you know, spreading my wings and helping out. And again, like I say, to tell you the truth, I almost do it for free. Right. I believe if I could just, and then, you know, our connection, you know, that we have. Right. He knows me really, really, really well. And so, I ain't never heard anybody say that. Do it for free. Yeah, but you know, it's how, because let's say the county, the city been good, and I'd be remiss if I don't say God been good to me and my family. I know that's right. You know, things that we've been through, things that we, you know, try to do, but some of it was successful, no. You know, but all in all, you know, it's about the effort. It's about, you know, putting your best foot forward and continue to go and being consistent and never give up. And so it's not about that for me because I have, again, kids that's looking up to me and been looking up to me to be the man that I'm telling them that they can be. You know, so, and I do that for free.
And I respect that. Like having 4 boys, you want to be like that example. You want to be that strong. Like you got 4 boys. 4 boys. Yeah, but and you know they get up and they start feeling themselves. They want to look up at the dad. No, yeah. Show you what the dad look like for real. Yeah, but I thank God for, you know, what He's done in my life. I have some respectful kids. They haven't given me any trouble. They went to school, you know, worked on themselves, and they striving to be better. You know, they listen. You know, right. You know, get 2 words out your mouth and they can finish a sentence. They let me know that they're paying attention. Exactly. And they actually doing it. Are they perfect? None of us are. Right. You know, but they can they do better? Of course we all can. You know, so. How old are you boys? What's your, from oldest to youngest? 27, 25, 21. My wife may give me 20. Wow.
20 years old. Then we have a 15-year-old and a 14-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah.
I threw that in there.
Did I get that right?
Yeah.
No.
I asked his wife for sure.
Yeah.
She was on your match. She finna drop right in the camera. Nope. That ain't right.
Close. Am I close?
Man, that's
proximity.
Is you close? Was it
Close.
You gonna have to ask that at home.
We got a good relationship.
That's good. That's good. Which one did he get wrong?
They're 25.
25.
He finna be 24.
Okay. JR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 year off.
Yeah. I'm striving for perfection, bro.
Men are in perfectly our mind. It's not with age and numbers. And, no, sir.
I'd have been in trouble. You'd ask me for our birthday.
I don't put you out there like that. Look, that'll mess up your phone. We don't even know his kids. No. Nah, man, I love it, man. I love it. As a matter of fact, I actually seen your interview on ABC. You said that you and your wife own small businesses, and y'all, and a lot of things you do yourself, right? So, and you like having so much to do, and you know having to compartmentalize all this stuff, and having businesses of your own. I have a business, and I have to do a lot of stuff myself too. How do you choose the people that's going to be behind you? What are you looking for in the people that's, you know, you want to be behind you to actually carry out the mission and you run it from there?
And so my cabinet is, I just announced a really good guy, Mr. Leroy Jones.
Okay.
I've been doing it for a while. Actually, I've been knowing him for over 13 years. I don't want to drop his title. I'm quite sure everybody knows who he is and what he do now. But looking at people that just as passionate as I am.
Right.
You know, we can have we talk about soft skills and hard skills. And sometimes if you're dealing with the public, because I've always been a people leader. And so you gotta have, those hard skills to be able to navigate through, emotions and dealing with, that broader scope. If you're gonna follow me or work with me, you gotta be able to have the heart of the people.
Right.
You gotta be able to have the heart of the people. Qualifications, looking at those things, but to me, you gotta have the heart of the people.
Right.
Looking at the vision and want to be able to, move the community forward. Let something good come out of Shelby County or Memphis.
Right.
I'm quite sure everybody's aware of what's going on and all the news and attraction that's coming out of here. And so let's let something good come out of it. So we got to have, sympathy, empathy, passion, love. You have to care for them. You have to treat them like they're our family. Care about those people like that. And so if they're going to get behind me or beside me, they have to have passion for the people. They have to have a service mentality or service heart for the people.
Right. Okay. Now I'm gonna ask you this: you running against some other people, man, that they got a strong background in politics. They from Memphis. It's some advantages of that. Does anything about any one of the people? You don't have to be specific, but does anything intimidate you? Like, is there anything that you're like, man, I can come away to combat that? You know what I'm saying? No. But yeah, I'm really saying that.
Nah. And again, like I can be brisk.
Yeah.
I went to military school. My whole schooling, graduated 4 years ahead of my class, and so having that structure, leadership, define, confidence that they instill into yourself that, no disrespect.
Right.
I know, in everybody's capacity, they do what it is that they do. But I feel that strong leadership is defined.
Right.
One of the things that my mentors always tell me, Rusty, you lead, you coach, you inspire. And so I'm threatened or intimidated, make me sweat. Like I said, no discredit to them. Everybody did their research. Some of them got good things that they do in the community. And again, like I always state, it's not about me against you. Because at the end of the day, are we gonna help the people?
Exactly. You still got the same common goal, man. So you gotta support whoever does get an awesome. Let me ask you this. Like I said, I like to understand how people think. And it's important that there's always a masculine example, to people. I feel like, I actually I was on Harrington's campaign team. I've been knowing Harrington a while. One thing I love about Harrington is that he was a real person. It's probably why he's not in office now, because he's so real. And people really love him. But it's like, he was too real. And I know there's an element, to business, to politics that you still have to have. You still have to have tact. You still have to, understand certain things so that you can't get your foot in the door. What do you fear most about becoming mayor? What do you fear most?
What I fear,
if there is any.
Not being able to, like, I'm genuine. Let me lead with that. And I know a lot of things have to go through the commissioners, and I just want to be able to. I don't want them to declip my wings. Don't try to turn me into something that I'm not. Let me come in, help, organize, be proficient in the things that I know how to do.
Right.
And that's my biggest fear. Them putting me in a box.
Right.
I'm unorthodox, but I'm organized. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's just my biggest fear of them just putting me in a box to where I can't move or navigate and help the people. And that's my biggest fear.
Okay. What about so there's there's a lot of developmental stuff going on downtown, and I feel like they are putting a lot of money downtown, and I always push for economic growth, but a lot of times our neighborhoods don't necessarily see that economic growth. So do you have anything that's put in place for us to not only see downtown, become economically strong, but maybe in some of our neighborhoods?
Yes. And again, like, proficient in looking at the money. Let me put it like that. Transparency. Yes, and so looking at this community that I lead over that I'm working with in Cascade, listen to the development, the economic structure, and we knew about downtown 11, 12 years ago what that was going to look like. And my strategy is to, partner with the community leaders, see what the need is. If it's economic structure, if it's tutors that the young people need, let's focus on the community first. We went to NCAACP. I talked about, you hear the statement that often said, it takes a community to raise kids. But it takes a healthy community to raise a healthy child. And so if that community is not healthy to be able to provide for those kids, then it's not going to be a healthy child or a healthy community. And so I think that's primary. If there's small businesses, if there's, having boys and girls clubs. Prime example, if you look at Whitehaven, Whitehaven is structured and organized, and you can see some of the development. And so talking to some of those leaders and connecting them, maybe with the Cascade, and I see them developing, trying to develop or trying to capture a school so they can turn into something for the youth. Going into different areas, whether if it's East Memphis, because you see some of this on a decline, and it's not all about trying to reinvent the wheel. It's about what's actually working.
What's working? Results.
Yes. And then we have to look at results, and then we have to look at sustainability. Okay. And so when we're looking at like the leader that's now, are we developing the future leaders to be able to sustain what we're going to be able to bring into the communities? And so looking at those type of things, just want to be able to partner with, and I'm going to show up. Right? let me be clear about that. Hopefully I ain't misunderstood. Like again, like I look at my track record, helping the organizations bring new facilities and new business. One thing that I always paid attention to was, as a leader, they was decoupling too early. They would set it up and then they'll walk away from it. And they don't come back to necessary check and see how it's trending, or do you need an additional support. And so that's going to be my role. And that's when I said I want them to clip my wings, because I want to be able to come out and make sure the neighborhoods are getting what they need and helping them out, talking to the leaders, because if they're in that area like that all the time, they automatically know. It's not for me to assume, it's not for me to assume that I know exactly what everybody needs, but the one that's in the core, they will tell you, it's called active listening.
Right. And
so if you actively listen to them, to the leaders, they'll tell you exactly what they need. And sometimes it's not all about money. Sometimes it's about, can you show up to talk to the youth?
Right.
Or they came to me and said, hey, did you see that young man? Do you know him? And say, yeah, can we get him down to come and talk to them? To show them that it's somebody that actually cares, because it matters.
Man, why don't most people understand it, man? It's like, that's black people's main thing, is just we just want somebody that like care. We ain't gonna, not just get in the office and then just leave us behind, and then we don't never see you, and then we find out you did this, that, and the other on the news. Like it's, we're kind of tired of it. And I'm more of a person that, like, I have more of a progressive mind state, so I don't like to depend on a lot of things. I want to be, part of the help. But it's all about the mindset for me, like building up people to be stronger people, so they can, be independent on themselves, right? Self-sufficient. I also have a credit business, so I'm throwing this out there.
Okay.
Because I think it's very important for, like, there to be certain programs where maybe there's professionals that's in real estate, tax professionals, credit can be spearheaded into schools, right? Is that maybe on the agenda, to get people that's willing to do that, even if it's for free, just go in and start maybe a curriculum for credit, and stuff like that they need to.
And so talking to some more active leaders too, those are some of the things that they want to be able to embed into the school. As an example, my good friend that comes from an African community, it's about some of the behavior that their kids are adapting to, or being formed into America. They want to be able to at least, to offer or continue to develop their kids in their belief system, or the way that they should be. But I say that to say, yes, I think, financial literacy needs to be, lowered down some, because if we look at, like say you're a business owner, we are too, and the things that we had to navigate, it's a lot simpler now. You got ChatGPT,
right?
But back then you didn't have ChatGPT.
Exactly.
I had to spend a lot of countless hours to try to find documentation, credible documentations, to help me navigate and continue to be on Google or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But I think that they need to be lowered down and give them a better opportunity. And not only just that, I've seen what Paul Young is doing within the community. He's talking to other leaders, and they got programs to be able to help the kids tuition free. And so I think that some of that could be lowered down into the, personally, I think it need to be at least in middle school. Maybe in the 8th grade, because they're going to come up into, seniors soon. 4 years they'll be here before you know it.
Right.
And after that it's adulthood, because again, I seen it firsthand working in logistics, and talking to the kids, and maybe hopefully I won't get slapped too hard for this on the wrist. Yeah. But I said the Georgia just came out the grave.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, explained to my kids, before the tariffs, it was $13 to manufacture. Mm-hmm. And so when you buy that first shoe, it used to be $120, $150 or whatever, mm-hmm. and now you're looking at $200. Now you're looking at another taxable $300 and something dollars, but you just bought. Look how many next pair of shoes you just bought for somebody else.
Exactly.
And so, you know, letting them know that instead of spending that money, if you know, if you want to look cool, that's fine. But you know, talking to my kids is how we always, you know, structure them up because it starts at home too.
Yeah.
And like my boys, I explained to them, you get a job, me and mom gonna take care of just about anything anyway. If you're making, you know, $20,000 or $25,000 a year, you know, you still can do whatever it is, but at least say at least 20,000. And then you look at the period of time before you make a decision on stepping out. When you step out, you can have a healthy amount of money to where you're able to sustain yourself or grow your business or do those type of things. But you know, I feel that at least need to be lowered down within the school something, so they'll be able to teach the kids too.
Yeah. Okay. So when you say lower down in grade, like
yes, in grade level, at least in the 8th grade.
Yeah.
Because at that time, you know, they have different wants, different needs, and those type of things. And if they have a better strategy, you know, especially looking at economics and those type of things, that they'll be able to grasp it a bit better. And everybody may not grab it right out, but they have to be persistent.
I think it'll be good too still now, even with you know, even with the young people, because just like you said, when you can relate it to something they already do or stuff that they're accustomed to or what they buy, whether it's Jordans or what, it incorporates some in the curriculum where they hear something that sounds familiar, they're gonna be interested in it anyway. We're talking about money. We're talking about big. We're talking about getting some more shoes. You want some more shoes? You want to be able to afford these Jordans? You know, I just think it's just like, you know, putting something to music. They memorize it because they like the beat, right? So I'm with you on that. I like that. So as far as the schools, so there is they're building how many schools? Or
5. I know 5 is closing.
5 is closing.
I think, I don't want to quote it wrong, but I think it's about 4 new schools that they're trying to open up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I went to Ridgeway. I went to Ridgeway, but I lived in Orange Mound until I moved to East Memphis. So you know, Ridgeway is in East Memphis. But we had to bus. I had to take the Matter bus out to Ridgeway because I wasn't in the school district. Is there? Now I haven't been like kind of like looking into this too much lately, so I'm just asking you: is there still a district situation when it comes to whether or not a kid can go to a certain school that they want to go to? Like, do you have to have an address there?
Yes, and they got more. There are more optional schools that's opening up, like the one that my son goes to, Memphis School of Excellence. We're in the district form, but they open it up to more kids to be able to come to that school. And so it still is a real thing. Unless the parent want to be able to commute to drop them off, there's no transportation to get them there. So,
but they can still go, even though they get dropped off.
Yes, if they get dropped off, if it's an optional school.
Gotcha. Okay. Now this is a question that came in from man, put the name on it, but I got an email. So this is a question that says So Memphis residents often complain about the roads, drainage, and the trash collection. What changes would you make to fix basic city services?
And so I think that's primary, right? And I get it because I'm out campaigning everywhere, every day, and I see it. Like for example, some of the conditions when it comes to neighborhood cleanup. Myself get out and my team, and I don't get all the way over into that. If it's a senior citizen, young couple that can't, you know, afford to stay up to code, you know, I come out and team take care of that for them. But infrastructure should be primary. Everything is going up, and just a tie. I ain't gonna get too far off on that, but a tie, you know, could be a setback for somebody, you know, that's in the struggle. And so you have to, let's say if you got $200 in your account. You know, you have to feed the kids or whatever, and you get paid tomorrow, but you got to make a decision because you got to be able to either get you a tire or repair your car or whatever the case may be, you know, to the roads being not the way that they should be.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, primary first is the infrastructure because we need it. And again, I'm out everywhere. You know, if you're coming down towards Ridgeway, I call them ramps.
Yeah.
You're gonna jump at least 3 of them. You know, but it's about partnerships. Are they being called out? You know, I seen something that Harris introduced the other day, and they talked about, was it Harris? I think it was Harris. And it talked about a service that they have to where we can easily identify and get those things fixed. Great idea, love to push that forward. But it's still gonna take, you know, people to be able to respond to those.
Right.
You know, to be able to see it, to report back. But then once we get it, then we have to act on it and not push it all the way to the side because it matters.
Yeah.
You know, even when it comes to public transportation, you know, they still taking a bulk of that too, and then we have to spend or waste on trying to repair this costly when we could have took care of the conditions like Poplar. You know, some of those areas.
Yeah, it's pressing.
Yep.
Come on
That's on the state. But it's about building partnerships and coming around forwarding towards militant.
Right.
You know, some of those areas that need to be, but we have to hold them accountable too, like they holding us accountable.
Right.
You know, to be able to make sure that everything is feasible for the people that's actually living here. You know, and not only just that, when tourists come in and they see those conditions, you know, if you look at it, you know, like that, then people may not want to come.
Yeah.
And I can relate prior to moving up here to Memphis, and me and my wife always talked about it, like, we've been coming up here for about 5 or 6 years to see if we want to make this decision or not. But the condition of the streets are still the same now than it was back then.
Yes.
And so it'll be interesting to see, you know, what's that strategy to be able to take care of that, you know, from current administration. Because we don't have to wait till a new administration get in and take care of that.
Exactly.
You know, they can be taken care of right now.
Right. And it's crazy because it's like when I go to different cities, one thing I can tell about the neighborhood that I'm in, I can tell I'm in a decent, a good neighborhood is the streets.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If the streets get bad, I know, okay, I gotta be in the hood somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for the majority of Memphis to have bad streets, like Memphis in and of itself is the hood.
Mm-hmm.
East Memphis, Winchester so tall.
Yes.
Bro, I remember when this first got paid, man.
Yes.
Yeah, like we paid. Yeah, and then it rained, like they don't do no patch up.
Yes. And don't forget if it snows,
Man,
it's coming back. Now it's coming back.
I'm not driving down Winchester. I'll take back streets to get. Oh man, I'm not. I'll avoid Winchester at all. But I do understand, look too, and I just want to say this from my own understanding. We do it, even though you say you don't take donations and stuff like that. I feel like if we start understanding that if we do invest in our political leader, if we donate to their campaign, you know, they can, you know, possibly allocate their money to go towards something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't never, we just vote, that's all we do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we gotta be a little bit more active than that. If you want something, you gotta pay for it.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too far off topic, but the candidate has to do what's right with what's being given to them. And she's laughing over there.
Man, come on, man.
And
Street shit.
I got my foot in the door. I'm able to see so and so.
Right.
You know, and I get it. It's in a legal scope, but we should be looking for loopholes. Mm-hmm. You know, to take trips to New York or, you know, or Texas or Florida. You know, $18,000 toward payroll, and you're the only individual with that payroll. And so it's about, and again, it's about running clean. It's about being respectful, because you know the assignment that's laid in front of you. And so again, it's about the trust. And so when I listen to, you know, the community, this we don't trust.
Right.
And so that's why you see, you know, That's just your own money from something like that.
Yeah.
You know, because they want to be able to push a certain appearance.
Right.
You know, but it's about if they're going to be able to donate it to you, it's about do they find trust, or you're going to come out and be able to help. That's what it's about.
And I love to see it too, man. It's somebody that's actually getting in the trenches and, you know, be active amongst the people. Do you talk to, like, do you take, and I know you say you talk to community leaders and stuff like that, which I love. How often do you get with, like, people in different neighborhoods, the leaders in, you know, different neighborhoods, and see to it that they, you know, let you know what they need? Like,
so, actively, real heavily actively in Hollywood community, African community. So it's about maybe once or twice, sometimes 3 times. It all depends on what the need is, even if it's just for me coming out, just serving food, you know, rolling up my sleeves to do those times, just being able to come out. And so whenever they ask, you know, or I call and say, hey, doc, do you need me? And they be like, for sure. And then I make myself available no matter what it is that I'm doing to come out and help. And so it's just based off the need of the community.
And I actually appreciate you coming out. Like, once he put us in the chat. Now I have Thursday. I have Melvin Burgess. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying who I'm endorsing. I'm getting the mindset of the people that I know that's running, and I'm actually specifically handpicking because I'm not really doing everybody. It's just specifically. I was gonna reach out to you, Heidi, Melvin. I wanted to reach out to you because I feel like you was probably more or less the underdog. Mm-hmm. I like underdogs. Mm-hmm. I like the person that because the underdog don't have no ulterior motive. Mm-hmm. It gotta be from the heart. Like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, man, there was something I was just gonna ask you. I don't know where I went with it, but I do have another question from an email.
Okay.
So this one says, what is the hardest problem in Memphis that no one wants to talk about, and how would you address it?
So one of the top things is from what I hear, is 201 popping.
Wow. Yeah.
And a lot of them are, you know, tiptoeing around the issue. When we look at strategy, maybe 10 years, a lot of them are willing to relocate it. And I just was down there the other day. I thank Floyd Bonner for the invitation to come out and just to lay eyes on the facility. But I look at a building that's right next door to it that's 7 levels higher than what the jail is. And so in my mind, when I see something like that, then why can't this building be like that?
Right.
We have over 200 inmates that has a real mental condition that's actually being housed because they can't go into like the state homes to get the care that they need. And so that's a holding facility for them because they don't have anywhere to go that would take them. And so if we can take care of those 200, almost 300 inmates, that's almost a whole floor. And then we have inmates that we're holding from the state. You know, so that's, we can say almost 500 individuals. If we can get those in a proper facility, then it's a strong possibility that we can go up. Right? That we move them up, take care of a level at a time, and then continue to go up, because I think the infrastructure, if you ask me, the infrastructure look like, when it comes to the brick and mortar, look like it's still solid. Mm-hmm. You know, do we need to do some work on the inside? Of course. You know, it's in the building over, you know, that age, you know, even when I look at my home, you know, we just had to get our gutters repaired. Yeah. Because we went with an older home, but we're not trying to say, oh no, this house is not livable anymore because of the age. I think we need to just build up down at 201 property, because my rebuttal always be, we talk about blight, we talk about abandoned building, we talk about tourism. If we build a new building, and it still may be, you know, 10, 15 years from now, what's the plans for this building? Is it just gonna sit here? Is it just gonna be another eyesore? You know, what's the plan? And I be, for the ones that talking about this build, I'd be very interested to see what would be the future plans, or is it gonna be like the Sheraton Hotel?
Right.
You know, just get transferred over into another trust. You do a 501c3. What are we going to do with it? Are we going to turn around and refix it up when we could have fixed it up and kept what we had?
So you said build up, and I like that too. So you said it's over 200 inmates in there that got a mental issue.
Yes.
So I'm assuming. So I want to make sure I get this right. So they got in there because they may have done something. Maybe it was petty. Or are you saying this? They literally housing people.
Yes, they're housing them because just say you got a business and they're a caregiver and they have assault with the caregiver.
They put them into a one.
Yes, because there's nobody else that's willing to take them. And so, and again, that's about partnership. Reaching out to someone or, having somewhere for them to actually go. We have so many empty, houses out here, and then we got, federal grants where we can recondition those and have them, in those facilities if that's the case.
Right.
And, then we can, start the work level up. That's just what I see.
Yeah.
To be able to, to save. And if we're going to, spend X, Y, Z, I don't know what it takes to build a state-of-the-art facility. Maybe they're talking about Alligator Island, like in Texas. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if we're going to push those funds out, let's reinvest those funds.
Right.
Because they're already doing upkeep down and they're getting new doors and those type of things. And so if we're going to do away with all that, then it's just a waste. All right. And I listen to the employees. $40,000 a year to be in that condition. Some of the kids, they coming in $30,000 or $24 an hour, but they almost 300 employees short, right? And so how do we change that narrative for to be able to, attract that attention, to come down there to be able to grow the government facility down there. They have temp people. They got maybe about 100 and some people that's working as a temp. How to have better incentives. And talking to the person that was giving us a tour, the incentives that they're talking about, they can go to Amazon or Nike and get those same incentives. We have to have more of an attraction to be able to get them to come down there so they won't have to do multiple levels of job. And not only just that, what does the retirement plan look like?
Right.
I have phone call, text message, documentation. Hey, look how they did me. And some of the people that's running is supposed to be over the retirement. But are we taking care of the people that was misinformed and that's really dealing with a heartburn to take care of the individuals because they served for over 20 some years?
Right.
What's your intention to be able to help them out? And when I talk about, when you ask me about what's pulling on me, these are the type of things that's pulling on me.
Right.
Can I get in position to be able to help the individuals to be able to bring better to them?
Right.
We talk about a better Memphis, a better Shelby County, and better is doing better. If you want better, step up and do better. And this is an effort from someone that was netted into the community that's trying to step up to do better.
Yeah. I wanted to get to, before you go, your business practices. So you have a tax company.
Yes,
right.
Sherry. She's the face.
She's the face. Okay. And how long have you been running the tax company?
So the tax business with her has been 3 years.
Okay.
Prior to that, I had a temp service. We created that in 2010.
Right.
And then I started working at Nike, and so we shelved some of it for a while because I seen a greater need within the logistic area when it comes to the kids and the people that was already there. And so it consumed a lot of my time.
Right. Yeah,
it consumed a lot of my time. But since no longer there, that upkeep is coming back. And so, like I say, I talked about this on ABC 24.
Mm-hmm.
You had to be everything.
Right.
You had to be the accountant, and thank God that that's what she does. And so
right.
That's my subject matter expert when it comes to that. But we still have to have the CFO, Chief Financial Officer, and all those type of things. And you have to be out of that.
Right.
And so, bringing those businesses here, I think that we can share those best practices with the youth for the next entrepreneur, the person that's driving to be the small business owner, and just teaching them just different strategies because you can't put all of it in a 401k. Looking at the market, if you follow the market, down is down. It's been down for almost 3, 4, 6 months. And then Iran took over. I just got a call. Someone lost 41K, through that same avenue. Right. And so it's about teaching them, different strategy. If you got to use your own money, like, hey, don't buy these Jordan that's coming out. They just came out a couple months ago. If you take that $300 and then, you invest it by putting it into something that's more safer. Even if you can't get any interest off of it, then at least you got that in your wheelhouse. And I can just say it because I seen it with my own eyes every week, a new pair. Mm-hmm. And so if you're looking at $1,000 a month, it's $1,200 a year, and then you're able to be able to help out.
Right.
So with yourself, invest those type of things because you have to. One of the biggest things that we realize in trying to get everything off the ground, you have to spend some money to make some money. You have to buy your equipment. You have to be able to set your website up. You have to be able to do all those type of things. And whatever it takes, sometimes it has to come out your own pocket.
Right. Yeah, you're right about that, man. Because these only going out buying the same Jordan.
I was just talking about this other day. Going to buy some Jordans. The same Jordan, I ain't buying the same shoe.
Yeah.
It's the same shoe.
Don't let me be up too bad. And I respect that.
I'm not knocking nobody to do it. But what I'm saying is, people stand in line to buy the same. You got 3 of them the same pair at the house. Or at the same, man, retro. See, and I'm just put this out. So I grew up, growing up, I wasn't a Jordan fan because I couldn't afford Jordans. Mm-hmm. So whatever I can't afford, I kind of don't even pay attention to it. Mm-hmm. But all I heard is, the 7s, the 5s, the this, the that. I don't know what this means.
Yeah, I follow you.
So I started, got a little older, I think I was like 27, 28, something like that. Mm-hmm. I started auctioning shoes. So I started selling shoes. So now I'm going and getting Jordans. So I'm learning them now. Mm-hmm. Oh, these what they saying, the 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s. Still never bought none of my own. Yeah. I had one pair of Jordans and it's only because I got the wrong size. So I kept them. Yeah. Right. Man, I had somebody come to me and say, man, you got the old Jordan. What? Mm-hmm. But they Jordans though. You got the old Jordan. I'm trying to small. It's like that. Man, you know what? I never worry because I don't know which ones to buy. I never get no Jordans again. Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it.
Let me share my backdrop. Let me share just a little bit.
Jordans, man.
I remember my first day at Nike came in inventory, and so I didn't have a pair of Jordans. I didn't own a pair of jeans. I didn't own anything like this. So I just wore what I had. Right. And walking out within the facility, I would see people, running, diving behind the aisles and things. And I had to tell them, hold up, I'm just a regular employee. They were like, nah, we thought you were from corporate. And I was like, no.
Because you have corporate clothes.
Yeah, that's all I had. And so I never forget one of the good managers, me and her real good friends, she pulled me into the office. She said, Russell, we gonna have to make sure you get your giveaway early.
They want to go give you your giveaway so you can get you some free stuff. Man, wow.
So I can get out of the pressing. And it's been good, I took a lot of those things that I got from Nike. Being in management, we would get like four giveaways of PS managers, and we stuff. And still got our employee giveaway, so I get like 8 giveaways, and so I would give away like 500 pair of shoes. Go in my kids' room, they be shoving up on their bed. Now it's time to recycle. We get those from under there, so we can go. I haven't worn them many times. Well, let's give them to somebody who's in more need than you are. You're fortunate
to do that. You have them recycle the shoes.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, having the shoes, apparel, all of it. And it was good to us.
Yeah.
You know, we took those things and I still got a couple good connects.
Right.
And they was like, if you need some shoes, let me know. I'll giveaway coming up, and I go pick them up, and then we'll connect with the churches in the local area, and we just donate, to make sure it's a good, healthy amount of apparel or shoes.
Man, I want to be a part of it, man.
I got you.
I want to be a part of it.
I got you.
Definitely want to be a part of it. Man, it's been fun, man. I definitely appreciate you coming on to the podcast.
No problem.
Like I said, I like you. I feel like this is, we got a bond. I see the energy there. You brought your lovely wife. I always love to see, people that got something good. You bring your wife with you, she supports you. I love it. Let the people know where they can, find you, or if they want to donate, where they can donate, and what you got coming up.
Yeah, so I got an active link. I can reshare it today on Facebook, but you can always find me on all social media platforms. And again, I can share across all platforms, social media. But I'm easy to find. Like I always tell people, it's two Rusty Qualls, me and my son. But if you Google me, at some point in time, I was the only one from age 13 to 32, the only Rusty S. Qualls in the world.
Right.
And so you're able to find it. Like I said, that's my backbone. She always makes sure I'm prepared.
Yes.
And so if you see it, if you're able to scan the QR code, all my information is attached to that. A donation platform, website, all my social medias. But again, it's very simple to find me. Just Rusty S. Qualls. I'll be the only one that pop up when you pull me up, and you can follow the path. And if you feel like you want to donate, then that's fine. I don't put any pressure on anybody to do that. It'd be greatly appreciated if they make the decision to.
Right.
But I make sure that I do what I should do with it. Share one short story. Cause I know my wife she when I'm in the pulpit, she'll cut me off. Tell me I got to give the gal. But one of the things that I did, instead of buying, signs of things like that, I took that money and we went and fed the community. That was passionate for me. I felt like that was more important because I know what it's like, and I had just left from back home and seeing the kids, wanted something to eat, and so me and my wife, we took it upon ourselves. The people that she worked for donated, and we cooked all of it, added all up to the community, and the kids had a good time.
Man.
And so that's the type of things that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
If you really want me to get me to come out to anything and say, hey, we take care of the community.
You out.
Push everything to the side.
I know that.
And I have space. I have space to, because one thing, my daughter, she was like 9 at the time, and I was everywhere, doing everything, and she was just like, Dad, we don't see you anymore. And so I had to make a decision and give them what they needed to grow up healthy, because it takes a healthy community to raise a healthy child.
Right.
And so now I'm free a little bit. I'm not so heavy to investing into the logistics right now.
Right.
And so I use this space. I thank God for my wife. And she allows me to be able to. And I told her I thank her for lending me to the people. She understands my passion. She understands my heart. And that's all I want to do, is just be there with people.
Man, and I'm about to let you go, but I'm glad that you figured it out, because I know even when you try and do something so great for the community, it can become a hindrance to you and your family. Mm-hmm. I've heard stories with, Dr. Martin Luther King and a whole lot of other leaders to where he got taken away from his family because he did so much for the community and he wasn't able to put back to his family. So I'm glad you're able to compartmentalize that and, your kids understand what you do and then follow your leadership in this. So,
Yes.
Hey man, I'm with you, bro.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man.
So I'm in. If you need me there, just let me know.
I got you.
And I'm there.
I'll take the word from him. I trust you. I'm gonna hear it again, man.
Hey, I'm there.
Okay.
I'm there because I gotta not only practice what I preach, I have, like I said, still got young men. that I'm being an example for being their biggest hero as well too. And so I have to show up with action. And so I'm a man of action too. So just lock me in. I'm there.
I got you. Man, it's been another episode of Universal Star Podcast, man. We got Rusty Qualls in the house. It's been a great episode. We'll see y'all on the next episode. You did.